So this wearable tech that we're seeing heavily promoted right now is much more sinister than just being about efficiency. On a deeper level, it's a symptom of the battle for humanity, which might sound wild, but what we're really seeing right now is a splitting of worlds into two. Wait, what do you mean? It'd be so cool to interact with stuff in augmented reality. It just makes our lives easier. Take it easy, bud. Have you ever heard of the concept of humanity splitting into two? No, I haven't. Well, there's different variations of it, but I feel like this is as close to truth as it gets. Wearable tech like this gives us a glimpse of the future of the two groups of humanity. Nietzsche actually tried to warn us of this back in the 19th century. Group number one, he called the last man. I call them life deniers. The life deniers' value system is one of comfort and efficiency being the highest goal in life. It removes any connection to nature and to higher intelligence, and it replaces it with this digital pseudo-connection, which we see through the internet nowadays, and stimulation. In our modern world, this plays out by those who want to live in this new physical world that's being created as an extension of the internet. They want to live in this digital world more than the natural world itself. These types of people aren't really motivated to create something meaningful or reach a level of self-mastery, but to just do enough to live a comfortable life or an efficient life. No wonder Nietzsche said, "Society tames a wolf into a dog, and man is the most domesticated animal of all." But on the other side of the split, there are what Nietzsche called the Übermensch, or what I like to call the life affirmers. They affirm life itself by embracing suffering and alchemizing it, not by avoiding it like the life deniers do, but they go through it in an alchemical way, turning suffering itself into a meaningful experience. Life affirmers usually take the time to ask the question life deniers never ask: what is the point of society at all? Is it to just make things easier for people, safety and comfort for the herd? Or is it something deeper? To those that affirm life, society is not meant to make life more comfortable, but to support the making of a higher species or a higher collective of humans that have evolved their level of consciousness. But isn't it weird how it's never really talked about how we can evolve together as a human race? You'd think that that would be a major subject of discussion that we're all talking about all the time, but we aren't. Why? Wow. Now look at what these goggles are doing. They're replacing human interaction with automation and convenience at the sake of efficiency. This is just another level of phone culture where humans are getting increasingly disconnected from each other and from nature. I call them life deniers because they fundamentally avoid any kind of suffering at all costs and don't try to alchemize them into any greater strength or meaning. They try to make life easy, not meaningful. It's basically denying the hero's journey in the name of safety. And in this way, they deny the natural human experience. Oh, I'm starting to see it. But honestly, it's easy to get tricked. For a long time, I tried to climb the ranks of the hierarchy that they created in their system. And I tried for years just to earn enough money, just to survive, and just to have more. But then I realized it's just a hamster wheel, designed to keep me running after a goal that I was programmed since birth to want. So many years ago, when I started to realize that there's much more to this reality than what I was taught, I went on a rampage of trying to understand, what is this reality? What's actually going on here? And what actually am I? So then I started to read as many philosophy, spiritual, science books as I could get my hands on. And then I went back to Nietzsche and I realized the historical context of why he was saying that these two groups were going to happen. And it was a response to what he called the death of God, which was after the separation between church and state in Europe. Because Europe no longer needed God as the source for all morality, value, or order in the universe, because apparently philosophy and science were capable of doing that for us. That's how they thought in that time period. The secularization of thought in the West led him to realize that not only was God dead, but also that human beings had unalived him with their scientific revolution and their desire to better understand the world. And he thought that this could be a good thing for some people when he said that at hearing the news that the old God is dead, we philosophers and free spirits feel illuminated by a new dawn. With the old system of meaning gone, a new one could be created. But this involved walking through a tightrope of massive risk, because Nietzsche believed that the removal of this system put most people at the risk of despair or meaninglessness. And his fear of this nihilism or this life-denying culture, or what he called the last man, in a reaction to what was happening in the world, he described in The Will to Power. And when he wrote, "What I relate is the history of the next 2 centuries. I describe what is coming." what can no longer come differently, the advent of nihilism. For some time now, our whole European culture has been moving toward a catastrophe. Remember, 2 centuries ago, he's actually talking about right now. He predicted it. And if you look into our society, doesn't it look like in the mainstream West, they want to give you 2 choices, the Western God or atheism/nihilism. So after reading this and studying the world's religions and many philosophers, I started to realize that the people in the West have no idea what the Eastern religions and philosophies are really even about. Maybe some do, but very, very few. Most people have never taken the time to even ponder them. But when I studied them, they blew me away. I was absolutely baffled at how much I resonated with what they were teaching. From Lao Tzu's teaching on the Tao, to Buddhism and the Dharma, to Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings on Kriya Yoga and the unity of the Vedic texts with the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita. There's a reason Steve Jobs recommended Autobiography of a Yogi on his deathbed. And another thing that validates these Eastern traditions is that they actually align with modern science. And many books have been written on this, and one of my favorites is The Tao of Physics. And to me, I love exploring the science of spirituality because I feel like it's a major key to our evolution of consciousness. But one of the biggest problems we have in the world right now is that the Abrahamic faiths, specifically the Western faith, don't understand that we're on the same team here. We're all on board with the higher intelligence, with just different interpretations of it. One of the biggest tricks in the book is to pin those who believe in a higher intelligence against each other and trick them into fighting each other. That's literally what's happening in the world right now. But at the forefront of this battle is actually the world based on connection with a higher intelligence, with nature and other humans, or a digital world based on pseudo-comfort while you're controlled. Here's a final question. Do we want to give up our birthright to be free, to run on the digital hamster wheel that's controlled by those who seek to monetize and control us for power? Or do we want to be free to suffer the difficulties of life that we heroically give meaning through the hero's journey of risk and evolve into a higher level of consciousness of humans? It's up to us. Nobody will decide for us because we have the power. You have the power. What you do matters because you're choosing, and everyone's choice adds up to what's gonna happen. So what are you choosing? You got me hyped, let's go! I'm just feeling kind of bad because of all the stuff I've done and how I didn't reach my potential. I'm getting frustrated. Yeah, bro, I'm feeling hyped too. And if you're feeling any guilt come up from being in the rat race, you've got to let that go. Most of us are born into the system, programmed subconsciously since birth to believe what we've been told about the way the world is. And in the words of Steve Jobs, when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is just the way that it is, and you're alive to just live inside the world. Try not to bash into the walls too much. Try to have a nice family. Have fun. Save a little money. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you, and you can change it. You can influence it, and you can build your own things that other people can use. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. What a quote. It's so true. I started to realize this years ago, and I've been breaking so many cycles. And I've been doing everything I can to break the metaphysical chains of the system that are still programmed into my mind that I've been removing and breaking. What's the point of doing that though? In the words of Paramahansa Yogananda, that's the purpose of our existence, that we strive to become good, to become perfect, and to use our free will to choose good instead of evil. God has given us all the power we need to do so. Your greatest enemies are your bad habits. They will follow you from one incarnation to another until you've overcome them. In order to free yourself from fate, you must cure yourself of bad habits. So the world shouldn't be different, so to speak. It was designed to be this way on purpose. And all we can do is take the current circumstances of our present moment and embody self-mastery and self-realization within them. And to do that, I had to break the cycles of procrastination, distraction, and bad habits to start. You know, honestly, I could use some help breaking the cycles that I've been stuck in. How'd you do it? I've actually got a free live masterclass on this coming up on the 16th. You should check it out. Nice, so it's even free. I don't have anything to lose. I'll sign up right now. Let's go. All right, mates, that'll do it for today's sketch. If you want to know more about the masterclass we've got going on, the details will be below. And on a real note, I feel like I'm definitely alive to help others with breaking cycles because it's been such a big theme of my life. Having lost 125 pounds, being hopelessly addicted to my phone, distracting myself nonstop every day and feeling really out of it and lost to the point where I am now. So I'm going to be putting everything I've got into that class. Hope to see you there.